Hello from Minsk. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about extreme programming and let's start with the definition.
Extreme programming is an agile software development methodology which helps to obtain much better result for the customer. It works when two programmers work together. One is making code and another is checking him. Or, for example, programmers sit together with customer or his representative, and they develop not just what was described in the technical paper or white paper, but they create something which improve adaptability and quality in response to changing requirements, because sometimes customer will understand what he or she needed when he or she see it.
And I cannot help but actually refer to the competences because for me, it feels like the extreme part of it, given that, like some of the people could be introverted, it could be some sort of like a social pressure, given that you have a tight deadline, you have someone watching, and you also may have like nothing left but just like your brain, maybe angry customer or maybe ticking timer, and you actually need to produce the result that will be at least satisfying. So how to deal maybe like with the human nature part of this thing?
Oh, it's nice question. There is a saying that if there is a formula to calculate how many person wants, and the answer is infinite, because each time when you give something to somebody, he or she wants more. The same would be with extreme programming. If you work hard, if you work fast, you will see that during the development, the person who sitting nearby to you will say, oh, come on, let's do this and let's do that. Sometimes, for example, when you work with someone, let's talk about Photoshop, and somebody is improving your face or your picture, then you will say, oh, come on, can we make some correction for eyes, and then for nose, and then for ears, and then for cheekbone, or for forehead, for hair, for neck, for shoulders. And then after 100 small changes, the picture would be 100% not seems to be as original, and sometimes the person would be not recognizable. The same would be with programming. For example, we agreed to create some kind of scientific calculator, and it is not so sophisticated in technical paper. But then client would say, oh, come on, could we put on this button not just sinus, sin, cos, or tangents, but let's put on this formula I use very, very often. And then suddenly you will understand that you will create 100 buttons for 100 formulas, and this already not a calculator at all.
And again, I will still try to stick at the human part at least as well, because sometimes, yes, there is also be the pressure, but sometimes it could be a bit of like some sort of like a conflicting. For example, let's say one person is like very focused, they want to, like follow a certain process to the toe, while another person likes to jump around, make different comments. Basically, if we just, like look at it as the cure, they just would put a lot of requests into someone's brain so that they cannot really process it and they will be more like irritated. And so how to deal with this thing when there are different people with the different ways of work? Is there any way to balance it, or maybe, like mitigate the conflict, or vice versa? It should be, like one should be taking the leading part and another should follow.
It's very funny because I was starting my career as an antivirus programmer, and I was creating my personal program, which name was BRAV, Bravo, Bragинский antivirus. And when I meet the request from users, I was very ignorant how to say, even Hippocratic. I was just thinking, okay, if it suits my need, I will implement it, but not vice versa. But then after several years, I created a small company, and we created a second version of this antivirus. And at this time, I was not programming so much, and I was thinking, okay, I will do something for clients. Then I will create a third antivirus, and then I was creating BTH company, which was producing a lot of different products for banks and for insurance companies and for call test centers and for some other businesses. And at this point, I realized that if I will take programmers with me on the meetings, they will feel frustrated because, for example, there would be like 10 people from another side and all of them have controversial requirements, and it is not easy to make friendship between them. And then I realized that it's time to take people as you, product manager or something like this, because this person which is not involved in programming could make balancing between all of these things. Because if I will, if I'm a programmer and I, for example, will listen one representative of the customer, he will say, okay, let's make it brown. I will say, okay, I'll do it, and I will write it down. And then someone will ask, okay, let's do it, I don't know, white, and I will cross out brown and white, and then I would completely confuse. What do you want for me? Is it so important to make this button or to make this progress bar or make this window or make this mode so sophisticated? And then I will give up. Okay, come on, let's have so many times you want, but give me just one advice, one per time, and I will do it, for example, for tomorrow. And you know, it was maybe the best decision in my world, because I was thinking, okay, why I need this product manager? They just waste so many times, so many papers, so many work in emails. But after this, okay, I am very ashamed, and shame on me, and I'm very sorry. But now I respect product manager most of the peoples, because just this person could protect my programmers from aggression from the customer sides.
Well, it's funny enough that you mentioned that. I do remember there was one example of, my experience when we actually had to go to the Singapore Stock Exchange to present certain piece of the product that I was working on. And I took developers with us. And after the meeting, they said, actually, yeah, we know that it's actually a lot of pressure. We see our product in a different hands. We actually heard different questions. Now we do have such perspective so that, we'll look at it from the customer point of view, from maybe market point of view, and it could change things from one way to another. And if we move to the tech part of the extreme programming, at certain point of time when, let's say, you work with someone and the speed and the quality matters, like what kind of skill set you need to possess in order to actually deliver the correct result? Because at certain point of time, you may quickly be able to recognize certain patterns. You should be able to quickly, write certain piece of code, and you probably not have a time to Google anything. So what kind of brain, what kind of skills, what kind of competences from the technical point of view you need to bring with you to the table in order to finish the mission?
Maybe you will smile, but this is not about programming. This is about human qualities, and I will tell you why. When you know how to make programs, it is not hard for you to create any kind of unit or any kind of mode. But if you are not, if you not like people who say that you should change something, in this case, you will be unlucky. I will give you an example. For example, one of my relative women, she makes some good stuff while she cooks, but she always put garlic, and I always say, come on, please do not put garlic on my plate, because I work with people and I do not want to be smelled like a peasant or something like this. But this woman will always put a little, and when I will say, come on, but I couldn't eat it, but she say, okay, it's just a little, and it is in irreversible situation. So I could eat, I couldn't eat, and she not agree to implement my request. The same would be with programmer. Doesn't matter how good you are in programming, but if you do not listen customers, it's very, very hard. It was one situation when I was a programmer, and it was like more than 30 years ago. I was asked to create a program with a very strange interface, just 4 huge buttons, nothing more, just one window and huge buttons. And when I was creating this, I was thinking, what a silly customer, what she is thinking. But then I found that he uses my program on a very small PDA, personal digital assistance, and the size of it, I don't know, like 9 centimeters to 6 centimeters, and he would use it in blind mode. So he just would touch this PDA and then find the corner and then push this button. And I realized Not he is dumb, I am dumb, because I was thinking about like 15-inch screen, but she has smaller one, like 6 inches or something like this. So sometimes you should sit with customer and listen to their stories.
And if we think about extreme, sometimes extreme also means there is a crisis going on, whether we lack of time, whether there is, like something urgent should happen, or we're already in the middle of the crisis and we were actually invited to work on this in couple. So how to deal, I would say, with the situations when it might be not totally out of control and you probably need to look for either help or maybe completely change the approach. So if there is a pressure, there is a lack of time, or it's actually being depleted, or other resources being depleted too. So how to think, how to look into proper solution to still manage the situation.
We're talking about extreme programming, and the main in this situation is result. So customer should be happy not just with how this program works, but also with the way how he obtained it. Because, for example, if you will create something like an engine, and then someone would be hired to make a lot of different adjustments, you will lose a lot of money, because engine is the most expensive part, and usually you will get all your money after several months of using this program. You will be asked for very small features. You will implement them quickly, but you could charge them like twice in regime in mode time of materials. So this is a very dangerous situation. You should have a good mood, and also you should embrace all your requirements, and also you should respect your customer. It is very easy to do something for very I don't know how to say, very respectful people. For example, I was creating Hackers Editor. The name of the program was Head, and when I was asked for some women or by some students who were younger than me, I was thinking, okay, they do not know what to ask. But if I would be asked by profs, okay, I will think, okay, they are so close to the sky, so I do everything for them. But then I realized profs just want small features which is useful for them, but not so important in my program. But sometimes younger people, they couldn't create such a program, but they want to have feature of their dream. And if I would put this in my suitcase, I would be blessed by a huge amount of people who make like coursework or some another kind of jobs while studying. But profs, they just will use this feature once or twice and no one else needed. So you should respect everyone as a prof, everyone as as a king.
Well, I do believe it looks like a marriage of multiple contradictions. And then my last question will be how knowing about extreme programming would help to make this world a better place.
First, it's about communication. You should understand that everything you do for people. So do not think that you are a smart one. You should create a better programs to make a world a better place. Then simplicity. Sometimes you will not understand how to do something and you will make too complex. And this is lack of competence. This is like lack of talking with other people. Then feedback. When people work with your program immediately, they will slightly change it, and it will be better almost each hour. And last one, courage. You inspire other people to work in the same way. If many people would work in extreme mode, then we will get our software faster and it would be well suited for us, so-called bespoke programming.
And we review the skill of extreme programming and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.